So, Michael, the folks out there want to know what it is we're doing as a company to keep our customers safe and to keep our team safe. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that question, let me just ask you something else that's coming up a lot. A lot of folks are telling me, hey, John, we're speaking with a lot of builders, and the builders are telling us it's taking a lot longer to get the permit now, and it's taking a lot longer to get inspections and things like that. Mm-hmm. And that's not what we're experiencing. So can you help me try to understand why there's this disconnect between what other builders are telling the public and what's going on with our organization?
Right. So I think there's two things. One is how well capitalized a builder is, right? Mm-hmm. So if a builder is slow to pay, they're going to have degradation in their timeline. Right. So we're not having any of that.
Right.
The other thing is because we have cloud-based technology and been using it for years, right? So we're familiar with it. We've adapted our systems and our protocols to cloud-based technology and virtual meetings. This for us it's kind of like walking and chewing gum. We haven't experienced any 2 steps forward and 1 step backward, or 1 step forward and 2 steps backward. So it's
flipping the switch.
It's flipping the switch, and there really hasn't been. I could see if we weren't on cloud-based systems, we would be struggling right now. So I can see why other builders may be struggling. We are not struggling at all with systems and
right. So but I guess what I'm hearing is people are saying that other builders are telling them that the county is slow and it's taking longer to do this and longer to do. Are we experiencing any delays in any jurisdictions that we work in, Montgomery County, Fairfax, Arlington,
I have not experienced anything. And believe me, as you know, John, I have weekly meetings with my teams.
Right.
We go over milestones. One of the biggest milestones is submitting plans for permit, receiving permits.
Right.
I have seen no degradation, no change in the timeline with any of the jurisdictions.
Right.
So
good.
I'm not sure. It could be the builders are just taking longer to be able to submit the plan, maybe because, so who knows what the factors are, but I can tell you from a county perspective, they are not operating as usual, right? Because a lot of the reviewers are working remotely, but we are seeing no change.
Good.
Zero change.
So Stanley Martin Custom Homes and Stanley Martin, we're experiencing the same timelines that we experienced before. We're not having any surprises from any of the jurisdictions where we work, and everything is status quo. Great. So, all right, well, let's carry on with the conversation and talk about what we're doing as a company on COVID. Obviously, things have changed quite a bit over the last 30 days with the way people do business, and that's kind of true for Stanley Martin and maybe not so true because we did a lot of things virtually anyway. So Michael, can you tell us at a high level, what is Stanley Martin doing to deal with the way we operate in a COVID-19 world, and how does that really differ from what we used to do before?
Gotcha. Thanks, John. Yeah, so great questions, and certainly there's been a change, a paradigm shift in the overall in the public. I would say at the highest level, if we look at COVID-19 and the effect on just the general construction industry, construction is considered an essential business. So we are not affected by any shelter in place, by any governmental restrictions. So that's good news. And including our suppliers, they are also considered an essential business. So that's good.
Right.
We've been operating on cloud-based technology for years. So there's no change in how we operate up and down our departments, from accounting to construction to the back office. So no change whether we're virtual or we're at the office. So that was great news. Also, interestingly, because we are well-disciplined, about 2 weeks before the government implemented their, 30 days to stop the spread, whatever the terminology, the stay-at-home orders, we had already implemented our COVID-19 protocol.
Right.
So where our construction team was required to social distance, wear PPEs. We were already working remotely. So we were well ahead of the curve and didn't need to scramble to ramp up for that.
And let me just jump in. It was kind of amazing for me because we literally went to work on a Thursday at the office, and then we said, hey, you know what? Let's get ahead of this thing and let's go remote. And Friday, everybody was working remotely. We just took our laptops and set up shop at home, and we didn't even miss an hour worth of work in our transition on the sales team.
Yeah. And I would say at the highest level, because we're getting a lot of questions from customers with regard to, well, how does the COVID-19 affect just the overall timeline?
Right, it's true. We are. Yeah.
I'm happy to say we have seen no changes in our pre-construction or construction timeline.
Right.
Some of that is because construction is essential business. Part of this is because we're so well capitalized. Our trades are flocking towards Stanley Martin because they know they get paid on time.
Right,
so that was a great thing. I would say probably the other thing is that we did notice a little, when we had the shock to the system with COVID-19, there was a little dip in our sales activity, calls and meetings and whatever, and we kind of anticipated that because people are like, whoa, what is going on?
Well, everybody had to adjust to a new lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But interestingly, we have come out of this and we are pretty much back to status quo with sales and meetings. Certainly I like to think of this in two kind of thoughts here.
Right.
One is customers like Stanley Martin just because they like our recipe for delivering homes and designing homes and things of that nature.
Right.
But also, I think customers consider Stanley Martin a safe harbor, right? So they're not concerned about Stanley Martin going out of business or not being able to pay bills in time. So we're hearing a lot, you and I are hearing this in the industry, there's a lot of background noise about just people being able to pay bills on time and whatnot. Interestingly, if I put on and listen to what our neighborhoods, our production homes, right, separate company, but interestingly, I was told by a good source that they're on plan for hitting their settles and starts plan for pre-COVID-19 plan for 2020. So.
It's amazing.
That is amazing. So that's kind of high level COVID-19.
And I think I was just going to jump in and say, back when we had the financial crises in 07 and 08, it's almost kind of a replay of that.
Yes.
We noticed that not only did the subcontractors flock to Stanley Martin because they wanted the security of getting paid, but so did the buying public. The customers out there wanted to work with a company where they really didn't have to worry at all about whether or not the builder was still going to be in business a year from now to get the home done. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And then I would say, as it relates to our pre-construction phase, we actually noticed on the permitting side a little bit of pickup, and only way I can pick up, meaning things are going a little bit ahead of schedule for the reviewers, is because they're working remotely, they have less distractions. So that's helping out. Obviously, because we are cloud-based and working remotely, we're doing things either using Skype or Teams or Zoom. So in lieu of in-person meetings, we're doing virtual meetings. So that's important. And, we have been, on the selection side, we have some wonderful videos, that we're sharing with our customers during the selection phase and literature. So our design team is meeting virtually with customers through most of the design meetings. And then we do have one in-person meeting with social distancing, with PPEs. When we want to look at actual materials, only our design team can pull the materials from the shelves, so we're not contaminating them.
Smart.
And at the same time, each day or each evening, we are having a team come in, wipe down all the surfaces and the materials. So we are being kind of vigilant about stopping the spread, social distancing, things of that nature. So that's what kind of happening in the, I'll call it pre-construction phase. As it relates to the construction phase, 2 weeks before, plus or minus, before the whole 30 days for stop the spread, to stay at home, we had already implemented our COVID-19 protocol across construction. PPEs, using masks. Our instead of doing weekly in-person meetings, our project managers are now required to do FaceTime meetings with our
Right.
customers. So it's a virtual meeting, and we can
Right.
walk around and show things in the house. So that's
Yep,
working out
yep.
wonderfully. We have within our COVID-19 protocol, we are posting yellow signs on all the doors, on our construction sign, large construction sign when you enter the site, and on our Sanajons about what protocols need to be enacted to stop the spread. From a office perspective, we have reached down to every one of our subcontractors to make sure that they're implementing our COVID-19 protocols, right? So it's great if our PMs, our project managers, are implementing this.
Right, right.
But if the people who are coming out to do the work aren't, I mean,
Right.
then what's the point?
Exactly.
So we're certainly doing that. We're also cleaning our Sanajons more regularly. So we're doing a lot of things. Our construction team is reviewing COVID-19 protocol every week. So we're really making this kind of muscle memory for construction. On the inspection side, interestingly, again, we're not having any delays.
Right.
Some of the jurisdictions are saying, hey, instead of having your project manager meet our inspector, we don't want to see anybody on site.
Right.
So when we have a framing inspection, we will do it ourselves, unassisted, if
Right.
you will, or unaccompanied.
Right, right.
And we have some inspectors who are actually using FaceTime. I'll give you a personal example. So this is me. I had some electrical work done in my house that I live in. And so we were calling in for our final inspection. And I was like, oh man, I don't want these guys in my house.
Right,
I'm already
right.
a germaphobe as it is. So the day of the inspection, I'm wearing my PPEs.
Right.
I had PPEs at the door in case the inspector didn't have
Right.
PPEs.
Right,
Like
right,
I was
right.
already kind of like a little whacked out about it. So I get a call from the inspector. Hey, Mr. Schnitzer, getting ready to do your inspection. I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah.
And he goes, can you accept my FaceTime call? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
So I had about 8 electrical outlets added and things of that nature. So I was like, oh man, this is great. So I took a hairdryer, plugged it into all my outlets,
Right, right.
tested the outlets,
Yeah.
tested the GFIs.
Right.
I had some outlets pulled through some built-ins, and the
Yep.
inspector goes, hey, I need to make sure we have fire stopping between the plate cover and the box. So I had to unscrew the plate cover, and they had to verify that. But it went off. I mean, I got my final inspection. Everything was done as if the inspector was there. It was just done through
And
FaceTime.
he never came into the house.
Never came into the house.
Yep.
So I viscerally get it
Yep.
because it actually happened to me.
Yep,
So
yep,
that's
yep.
what's kind of happening in construction. Warranty, we are with customer's permission doing outside work.
Right, right.
We are not doing any scheduled service for inside work right now,
Right, at the
unless
moment,
there is an emergency.
Right,
so that's
right.
kind of what's happening with Stanley Martin and COVID-19.
Good, good, good. Sounds
okay?
good. So everybody's working hard to stop the spread and to keep everybody safe, both the customers and our team and our subcontractors.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Good.
So it's
Good,
working
good.
out fine.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thanks, John.
Yep.